Krishna Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Avatarakan Tat Prakasham Statat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Granthera Arambha Kori Mangalacharana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana Hoy Vighana Vinashana Anayase Safala Hoy Vanchita Purana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We'll read shortly, and now we are first reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is also Granth Raj. It is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said once that if there is only one book left, and that should be, if there is only one book, we have to keep in the whole world, which book that should be? Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that. Everyone is drowning and is only carrying Chaitanya Charitamrita. One should keep on one's head. That means even if one's whole body drowns, but let not the book drown. That is the level of respect we should give to these wonderful literatures we are reading. So we were reading about the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, referred in here in Chaitanya Charitamrita from text 53 to 56, the 4 shlokas. Now let's see what happens in text number 57. We are reading Adi-lila, chapter 1, text 57. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Cinatamani jayati Somagirir Gurur me Shiksha Guruscha Bhagavan Sikhipincham Maulai Yat Pada Kalpataru Pallava Shekhareshu Lila Swayam Avara Rasam Labhate Jai Shrihi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Isi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Cinatamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears peacock feathers in his crown, under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like the desired trees. Jai Shri Radharani enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal consort. Purport. This verse is from Sri Krishna Karnamrta, which is written by a great Vaishnava sannyasi named Bilva Mangal Thakur, who is also known as Lila Shuka. He intensely desired to enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord, and he lived at Vrindavan for 700 years in the vicinity of Brahma Kunda. 700 years. A still existing bathing tank in Vrindavan. The history of Bilva Mangal Thakur is given in the book called Sri Vallabha Digavijaya. He appeared in the 8th century of the Shaka era in the province of Dravida and was the chief disciple of Vishnu Swami. In a list of temples and monasteries kept in Shankaracharya's monastery in Dwarka, Bilva Mangal is mentioned as the founder of Dwarka Dhish temple there. He entrusted the service of his deity to Hari Brahmachari, a disciple of Vallabha Bhatta. Bilvamangal Thakur was actually entered into the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. He has recorded his transcendental experiences and appreciation in his book known as Krishna Karnamrta. In the beginning of that book, he has offered his obeisance to his different gurus, and it is to be noted that he has adorned them all equally. The first spiritual master mentioned is Chintamani, who was one of his instructing spiritual master because she first showed him the spiritual path. Chintamani was a prostitute with whom Bilvamangal was intimate earlier in his life. She gave him the inspiration to begin the path of devotional service. And because she convinced him to give up material existence to try for perfection by loving Krishna, he has first offered his respects to her. Next, he offers his respects to his initiating spiritual master Somagiri, and then to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was also his instructing spiritual master. He explicitly mentions Bhagavan, who has peacock feather on his crown, because the Lord of Vrindavan, Krishna, was the cowherd boy, used to come to Bilva Mangal to talk with him and supply him with milk. In his adoration of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, he states that Jai Shri, the goddess of fortune, Srimati Radharani, takes the shelter in the shade of his lotus feet to enjoy the transcendental rasa of nuptial love. The complete treatise Krishna Karnamrta is dedicated to the transcendental pastimes of Sri Krishna and Sri Radharani. It is a book to be read and understood by the most elevated devotees of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, in this wonderful verse, we see that Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has picked nectar. A devotee is uh, seeking for nectar. So there are some verses from Bhagavad Gita here. There are some verses from Bhagavatam, from Padyavali, from Krishna Karnamrta, from other holy scriptures, and of course, Kaviraj Goswami also talking about his realization and his pastimes or his remembrance of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. But this verse, remembering about Bilva Mangal Thakur and his spiritual masters. So we discuss multiple spiritual masters, and the tattva is same, whether it is the initiating spiritual master or the instructing spiritual master or the Path Pradarshak Guru or the Supreme Lord. Here, Bilva Mangal Thakur is offering respects to everyone. Chintamani said the prostitute towards whom Bilamangal Thakur was so attached that he mistook the body of his dead father as a log of wood. He was so attached to meet Chintamani. He um, misunderstood the rope as the snake as the rope. When lust is there, it blinds us to see the things in the true perspective. And then Chintamani said, well, if you would have so much attachment towards Krishna, towards Govinda, what you have towards me, where you would have been. And applies to everyone actually. It applies to me. If I also, develop the attachment I have towards materialistic thing, if I develop the same attachment towards Krishna, if I devote the same time, energy, my intelligence, my life to Krishna, where will I be? This is something we can reflect from this pastime. We'll be at a much different place. And as we discuss, all of our attachments may be different. Some may be attached to wealth, some may be attached to prestige, some may be attached to women, some may be attached to something, etc. So we have to find what is my Chintamani in my life, which is stopping me from Krishna consciousness, or being a hurdle in my Krishna consciousness. But here Chintamani became, and at that point, Bilamangal Thakur had a change of heart. And then he really kind of reflected upon those words of Chintamani, and kind of, from that point he became a great saint, and lived in Vrindavan. Here it is mentioned he's the founder of the Dwarkadhish temple, also there mentioned. So it's interesting fact. Lived for 700 years in Vrindavan. Um, this is about at least 1,000+ years back. So at least 1,000+ years back. Of course, in the Kali Yuga, um, after the Dwapar Yuga, but at least 1,000 to 1,500 years. Actually, it's mentioned very clear in the 8th century. Right now, we're in 21st century. So that means about 1,500 years back, 1,400 years back. So, so his instructing spiritual master, his Path Pradarshak Guru, his initiating spiritual master Somagiri, and the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada is mentioning not God, not any Tom, Dick, Harry, not to the light, very, very clear, who wears a peacock feather, who is a crown. So referring to the Supreme Bhagavan, not to any light, not to any impersonal Jyoti or whatever. So in short, he is remembering the verse which we kind of sing every day in multiple forms. Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan Ishan Ishan Avatarakan Tat Prakasham Satat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam. Another way to say it, Guruve Gauri Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. So all these verses, it's not that there is any concoction here. The great souls are also doing the same. They're remembering devotees, they're remembering Krishna, they're remembering Jai Shri, Radharani. And what happens when we remember them? All the impurities are gone, and all the desires are fulfilled. So let's see if we can move to the next verse, text 58, what happens there. Yes, it will probably want to read this one.
Sure, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have one question. Like, Chintamani give one instruction only once, and definitely that lead change the life of the Billamangal Thakura. But if you look at my life, that I got some instruction here there from different devotees, even outside of the devotee circle, who ultimately brought to me whatever I am in that position. So they're all my spiritual masters.
Yes, in one way, yes, but at the same time, we have to understand also, like, I'll give one example. Um, if my friend told me, "Oh, you go to ISKCON temple, hmm, you go to ISKCON temple, and they do nice kirtan there," and I had, let's say, no inclination, I didn't know anything about ISKCON temple. My friend told me, okay, and I started to go. My friend is, I mean, I'm just making these facts, but it happened in a real instance also. I don't want to take any names. So that friend, drinking, smoking, doing all things, goes to ISKCON temple once in a while and likes there. So in one way, he guided me, right? Go to ISKCON temple. And let's say if I happen to take the process seriously and I give up my bad habits and start following the ISKCON devotees, ISKCON process, Prabhupada's books, etc. So now the question comes: Is my friend my spiritual master? So in one way, yes, I have to give the respect and always be grateful to him. But at the same time, that does not mean, oh, I will do whatever he does. Oh, I will do. He is a representative of the Supreme Lord, so I will just follow him blindly. If he's going to a bar, I will go with him. If he's going to a casino, I'll go with him. That intelligence we need to have, and that will come through right Guru Sadhu Shastra. Yes, we have to be grateful to him because he helped us in some way, and that gratitude we can express by helping him also in his Krishna consciousness, by giving him prasad, by telling him now, you can tell him that, oh, there is a festival in ISKCON temple. You told me to come. Now I'm so grateful to you. Now I request you also to please join the festival. So that's, if we are really grateful, then we'll try to help that person. So not by blindly following whatever he or she may tell or he or she may do. Does that clarify?
Yeah, more or less. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 58. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. জীবে সাক্ষাৎ নাহি তাতে গুরু চৈত্য রূপে শিক্ষা গুরু হয় কৃষ্ণ মহান্ত স্বরূপে. Translation: since one cannot visually experience the presence of the super soul, he appears before us as a liberated devotee. Such a spiritual master is none other than Krishna himself. Purport: it is not possible for a conditioned soul to directly meet Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but if one becomes a sincere devotee and seriously engages in devotional service, Lord Krishna sends an instructing spiritual master to show him favor and invoke his dormant propensity for serving the Supreme. The preceptor appears before the external senses of the fortunate conditioned soul, and at the same time the devotee is guided from within by the Caittya Guru, Krishna, who is seated as a spiritual master within the heart of the living entity. So Krishna helps to find a Guru, and Guru ultimately helps to reach to Krishna. So definitely for me, as a so-called devotee, doing something ritually, not spiritually, so it is very hard to see Krishna, meet Krishna, but spiritual master grace, by following spiritual master, definitely we can reach somewhere to feel, to realize Krishna and Krishna's pastime. So the spiritual master actually the representative and representative of the Lord. By worshipping him, probably we get Krishna's mercy. Back to Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice verse. So the ordinary soul, Jive Sakshat Nahi Tate Guru Chaitanya Rupe. Now I'm a fallen soul. How can I understand what Krishna wants me to do? Can I talk to the Paramatma within? Pure devotees can, right? But I'm not at that level. So therefore, Shiksha Guru hoy Krishna Mahanta Swarupe. Shiksha Guru is basically the Supreme Lord's mercy. The Supreme Lord is so merciful. He's saying that my child is not at that level to kind of directly talk to me like, oh, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave. Right? It's not that the message, I'm dreaming about Krishna, 24 hours thinking about Krishna. It's a very pure state, which I'm very, very short of that. So I need a walking Krishna and talking Krishna, and that's the Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, who helps us. How? Directly and indirectly. We discussed that in the previous verses. Directly by telling the do's, and indirectly by telling the don'ts. This is not good for your bhakti. This is good for your bhakti. Don't do this, otherwise you'll have troubles in your bhakti. Or do this, this will help you in your bhakti, etc. So that person, and of course Srila Prabhupada is our preeminent Shiksha Guru for all the devotees in ISKCON, no matter how young or old they may be. And therefore Prabhupada has a very unique and special position in all of our lives and will continue to have for all the devotees. Yet at the same time, we need a initiating spiritual master and an instructing spiritual master, and so that we can strengthen our connection also. So all these are in same line. It's not that Prabhupada is telling something, or senior devotees are telling something, or Shastra is telling something. If you are referring to the pure teachings, the pure Vaishnavas, pure Guru, then they all have to be, it's kind of a check. They all speak the same language, or in short, they all take us to the same goal, and that is to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So, Guru, Vaishnava, Guru Sadhu, Shastra, Guru Parampara system. So let's see what happens next. Text 59. Aswati Mataji, want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all Srila Prabhupada. Text 59. Tato dushvanga mutsrijya satsu sajjita buddhiman santa eva sa chidanti mano bashvanga muktivi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. One should therefore avoid bad company and associate only with devotees. With their realized instructions, such saints can cut the knot connecting one with activities unfavorable to devotional service. Purport. This verse, which appears in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.26.26, was spoken by Lord Krishna to Uddhava in the text known as Uddhava Gita. The discussion relates to the story of Pururava and the heavenly courtesan Urvasi. When Urvasi left Pururava, he was deeply affected by the separation and had to learn to overcome his grief. It is indicated that to learn the transcendental science, it is imperative that one avoid the company of undesirable persons and always seek the company of saints and sages who are able to impart lessons of transcendental knowledge. The potent words of such realized souls penetrate the heart, thereby eradicating all misgivings accumulated through years of undesirable association. For a neophyte devotee, there are two kinds of persons whose association is undesirable. Number one, gross materialists who constantly engage in sense gratification. And number two, unbelievers who do not serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but serve their senses and their mental whims in terms of their speculative habits. Intelligent persons seeking transcendental realization should very scrupulously avoid their company. Very beautiful verse here, Prabhupada here explaining in the purport that one should know the person who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness and who wants to do devotional service, they should only mix with the devotee, like-minded person who has who are Krishna conscious and always engaged in the devotional service. Then that person can able to achieve their goal in the devotional service, and they should not mingle with the person, like here Prabhupada give two different examples, like person who are too much materialistic, always talk about property, car, job, money, etc. And another kind of persons are atheist persons. They do not believe in God. So just Prabhupada is instructing to avoid those persons. And here example giving like Pururava and Urvasi. So Urvasi was like, Pururava was like too much attached with Urvasi, and therefore I think he has desire, material desire to get Urvasi. So that's why when Urvashi, the Apsara, I think the Apsara, when he left, she left him, that's why he get mad. So like the same way, like when we get something like materially too much attached something, those material attachment will not give us Krishna. So we can get Krishna, and we can get the transcendental loving service of Krishna by associating with devotees and associating with Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. So reading scriptures, chanting, and then associating with devotees, those will help us to develop in Krishna consciousness. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. This is the first and foremost limb of bhakti, A for association, taking association of devotees. So the glories of association are mentioned here. Santa, the sadhus, not the Santa Claus. Someone asking me, and one child was asking me in the Prabhu's program, is Santa real? I said, I don't know about Santa is real or not, but Santa are really real. So, Santa eva, certainly. What will they do? They will chindanti. They will cut off. What? Mano, vyasangam, uktibhi, the opposite elements, vyasanga. So that things which are not conducive to our Krishna consciousness, the bad attachments, anything non-conducive, how will it cut off? Just by sitting together? It will have very little benefit. But by their ukti, by their instructions, if we follow the instructions of the devotees, then only the attachment will be cut off. Not just by reading or hearing. I mean, it will have some effect just by proximity. One will have some benefit. But many people, they may touch or they may touch great souls' feet, or they may, want to get close. But touching the feet means following the instructions, correct? Many people, otherwise, Prabhupada gives, you see this ant, like a mosquito was flying. The mosquito is so close, but the mosquito does not follow the instructions. That's a difference. So, ukti bhi, their ukti, their vani, that will have the most effect. All the bad attachments will be uprooted. Asat santyag, and then we have to give up the bad association. The bad association, and not just give up, very scrupulously one has to give up. Avoid that bad company. That means very carefully. So we have to see where, as Mataji mentioned, so many nice points, that where is the bad association in my life, and we need to avoid, we need to kind of scrupulously avoid that. And who do not serve the Supreme Personality of God, but serve their senses with their mental whims in terms of their speculative habits. That's also a very important point. That means they don't follow what the Guru Sadhu Shastra want them to do. I may have my own, I know what's right, I know what's wrong, I know what's good for me, I know what's not good for me. I will follow what my mental whims say, because of my speculative habits, rather than checking with Guru Sadhu Shastra. So that association, that is not good. And that mentality is actually, Krishna Goswami is quoting from Bhagavatam, that we should rather avoid that mentality, or avoid people with that mentality. What to speak of devotees having that mentality? So that will certainly not help, and we should avoid such association who think, I know everything, I know better, without Guru Sadhu Shastra. If the person is genuinely learned and genuinely following Guru Sadhu Shastra, then there is no question of mental whims and speculative habits. Then a person is sadhu. Then person will help to cut off the mano vyasangam. Chindanti means cut into pieces. So the power of association of devotees. Therefore, I'm so grateful to all of you for giving your valuable association practically every day to read Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita together. So we will continue this discussion. The next verses, I think we were talking about that how in 6 forms the Lord expands, right? And one is the devotee. So we discuss about the spiritual master, and we will discuss about the devotee section now. So in text 32, we started this discussion from 44 to 58 about the guru or the spiritual master. From 59 to 64, we'll talk about devotees and then the other aspects. So Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan. So we talk about Isha now, or Isha Bhaktan, sorry, Vande Gurun. Sorry, we talk about the Guru. Now we're talking about Isha Bhaktan, or the devotees of the Lord. This whole chapter is very, very important, and actually everything is so important. And especially so many verses from the Bhagavatam are also quoted here, which in itself tells that those verses are more important because Shukdev Goswami, because Srila Kaviraj Goswami is picking them again. So now we will move